Okay, so this video, Xbox Game Pass has stagnated. Is it true? Has been recommended to me. Now I can see from literally the first chart that it's showing, it's using the same charts that I was looking at back from 2022, where it had over 30 million without Xbox Live Gold. Now, if you're looking at this screen right now, you can actually see that it says Game Pass excluding PC. And that LinkedIn profile that has since been changed showed that PC had 10 million and it's actually grown ever since. So if we're looking at the 10 million from there alone, plus the 21 million here, and we know that that's grown as well, a few million by 2022 to 2024, plus the 3 million that we know that's now grown with Call of Duty, the 3 million plus, you're looking about, give or take, almost 40 million where we are right now. That's not including the Xbox Live Gold. But you know what? Let's listen to what he has to say and react to it and see where he's actually going with this.
One of the craziest things about Game Pass is how the data has been obfuscated. Anywhere you look that's reporting Game Pass data is not giving you what I think is a clear metric as to where Game Pass subscriber counts are right now. I want to go ahead and start from Statistia's numbers. Then I want to go ahead and look at Sarah Bond's numbers. And I think we're going to see a discrepancy. Fasten your seatbelts because something much more interesting is going on here. And I don't want to call anybody, a liar, but I don't see any other way to find data from what's been reported other than at least at best saying that somebody is purposefully, in a sense, shielding prying eyes from the data. That is the most political way I can put it.
I mean, both Sony and Microsoft have been hiding numbers for a number of years now because their growth just hasn't been great.
Number of Xbox gaming subscriptions on console worldwide as of April 2022 by service. This is in millions. Statista reports that at that time, right, April of 2022, so keep this date in mind, right, that there were 33.6 million subscribers in total. The breakdown was 21.9 million of Game Pass users on console and 11.7 million of Xbox Live Gold. The conversion had not happened then. After the conversion happened, Sarah Bond reported on the back end that there were 34 million subscribers to Game Pass. In fact, we have a video clip of her saying that in this particular footage clip, piece. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play it for you guys so that we can hear it ourselves. And I timestamped it 10 months ago, like I knew I was going to come back to this thing, okay?
Available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Okay, so she comes out and she says 34 million Game Pass subscribers can all enjoy the Diablo 4 experience. Now, later on, Microsoft basically clarified the statement saying that that was a mixture of core and Game Pass subscriptions. Basically, they've converted Xbox Live Gold into a core subscription that doesn't get all of the benefits of Game Pass.
That's not entirely true. So if you read the original statement, it says that the Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will be able to play it. Game Pass Core subscribers will not. But it didn't actually say that the Game Pass Core subscribers were infused with the Ultimate ones. The number here that's being left out and no one is picking up on is the 10 plus million users on Game Pass PC that have just the basic Game Pass PC subscription. That's the number that's being omitted here because that same people are able to play Diablo 4 on Game Pass.
So when we look at it, this, conversion that goes on here, right, equates to 33.6. So when you look at 33.6 as of April of 2022, right, you would think that after her report, Game Pass basically only grew about 400,000 subscribers. But here's what the discrepancy is. Statista is reporting that this particular number of 21.9 excludes the PC Game Pass users.
And you know what? The fact that he's noticed this and he said it means that he's smarter than 99% of the chat GPTs on Twitter right now who fail to acknowledge that this is actually a thing. I mean, I was talking about this before he even mentioned it because that's where the data is being muddled up. The PC Game Pass users are also a part of that, Game Pass total subscribers. And we do know, based on a LinkedIn profile, that it was over 10 million 2 years ago, and it is growing. It is growing steadily. So that much we do know. It's happening because it's a great deal, especially on PC, where you don't need Xbox Live, and you get all of those benefits. You get everything except, I think, the cloud. And if you don't care for that, well, paying $10 almost is a great deal, right?
Now, this is where things get really weird. Let's go back again and let's look at something very interesting. So take a look at this. We have official data from the Brazilian Administrative Council for Economic Defense. When Activision Blizzard was trying to get the, approval from them, when Xbox was trying to get that approval in Brazil, they published some data that made known how much Xbox was making in that regard. So people could actually take this number, about $3 billion, and kind of backtrack and be able to come to terms with exactly how much money they had made and possibly how many subscribers they had. But without any problems in that time in January, soon after the announcement of Activision Blizzard's deal, Microsoft said Game Pass had reached over 25 million subscribers. However, it's unclear how this number has changed since then. So my guess is these Xbox Live Gold folk before the conversion were already moving into the Game Pass pipeline, and also some PC players were moving into the pipeline as well. So perhaps the 34 million is either a higher number of people moving into the fully, padded tier of Game Pass within the ecosystem, or there are numbers that they're not reporting. That's the only way I can conclude this. You see how that is? You see how that gets it kind of convoluted? Because the 34 million and the 25 million had always been there, right? So Game Pass probably had 25 million when Xbox was trying to buy Activision, and they reported 25 million, right? Maybe people had already started migrating into the Game Pass tiers. As they heard the announcement, people started subscribing to Game Pass. People started moving from, Xbox Live Gold and saying, why am I waiting when I'm going to get Activision games and all these Bethesda games? And so that's probably what happened.
No, again, he kind of hit the nail on the head and then decided that he would steer away from it. The 21 million subscribers that was there is accurate. Those were the console accurate users. And then you've got the 31, you got the 11 million, and that kind of makes up today the number of consoles that we have out there, give or take. What it's missing is the PC users. The PC users are missing, and they are valid numbers that should be additional to the Game Pass numbers because they still have access to day-and-date games on PC. It may not be Game Pass Ultimate, but it is Game Pass PC, and it is still Game Pass. It's not a different umbrella. It is still falling under the same umbrella, but as you can see from that chart that he showed, it is not being included. So over 10 million subscribers are not being counted here that would have the game day and date, which would then coincide with what Sarah Bond said. From that 22 million, if you add the 11 million of Game Pass PC, you're looking at 33 million. That now coincides with that 34 million without the need for the Game Pass Core or Xbox Live users. They were never included. And as the statement that went to Tom Warren said, only Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will have access to it, not Game Pass Core. There was no reference in that statement to say that the 11 million users on Game Pass Core were actually counted within that 34 million. Go read the statement and you'll see that they are not connected in turn. They are two separate statements saying that these people will get to play it, these people will not get to play it.
So it seems, ladies and gentlemen, that the goal is that Xbox can convert those who are already in the subscription service to move up the tier without even having to worry about outsiders at the moment, while still being able to still appeal to outsiders via the Game Pass PC model. This article written here on The Verge by Tom Warren actually lays that out. If we read it, it's going to say Microsoft's Game Pass service now has 34 million subscribers. That's 36% up from 25 million previously reported more than 2 years ago. And this is the 25 million he's actually referring to over here, right? So let's stay close with me. Let's see if we can track this stuff down. Microsoft previously reported that Microsoft revealed that 34 million figure in an official podcast today as part of an announcement that some exclusives are coming to PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch. It's the first time Microsoft has disclosed fresh Xbox Game Pass numbers, subscriber numbers, since announcing the Activision Blizzard acquisition in 2022. I think this announcement grew Game Pass from within the Xbox ecosystem. If you're in the comment section and you converted from Gold to Game Pass, let me know in the comment section.
That's not what's happened. What's happened is they've added the PC users with the console users to get to that number. It's really that simple.
This is probably where the data set makes it look really weird. Oh, they're not really growing because they added core, but how many of those people that became core members looked and said, I'm not getting the full benefit, might as well move up to the new fee? Microsoft's gaming CEO, Phil Spencer, previously admitting that he had been seeing growth slow on Xbox Game Pass for consoles. We're seeing incredible growth on PC. On consoles, I've seen growth slow down.
You're seeing growth slow down because you're not selling any consoles. If you don't sell the console, you can't see growth. In order to see console growth, you have to be selling that console, which you are constantly devaluing and constantly undermining. The console is not required. You don't need a console. This is an Xbox and you're pushing it out. You've seen my previous video on this, how I think it's a great strategy, but this is the consequence of that. And if you're porting your other games over, then that also damages this growth. Everything Microsoft seems to be doing is aimed at damaging their overall growth by contradicting everything they're doing. It's crazy how some of these people are getting paid so highly. But in reference to this, that 25 million is console users. The 11 million is Game Pass, Xbox Live, console users. What's not being included here is the PC.
Mainly because at some point you've reached anybody on console who wants to subscribe, said Spencer in Wall Street Journal interview in 2022. This is while they were still trying to acquire, they were still trying to get Activision at the time. It's clear that Microsoft is ways away from hitting its ambitious 100 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers by 2030.
And they won't be hitting that number by 2030. I just don't see it.
Microsoft targeted 73% growth rate of Game Pass at one time in a fiscal year that ended in June 2022, but managed only 28%. The company then dropped Xbox Game Pass growth as a target for Satya Nadella's exclusive executive compensation last year, after first exceeding its ambitious Game Pass internal targets in 2020 and then failing to meet compensation targets for 2 years in a row. The 34 million figure is reflective of the fact that Xbox Series X and S console haven't been selling as well as PS5 hardware, and that consumers aren't flocking to Game Pass for Xbox cloud gaming on mobile devices. This was before the context of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and even Call of Duty 2023. Modern Warfare 3, I think, the remake. Microsoft also started converting Xbox Live Gold subscribers over to Game Pass Core last year, and the company has confirmed to The Verge that the 34 million includes those subscribers too.
They did not. Go read the statement. Okay, here it is. The statement's down below.
So this is where they basically bundled it all in, and now you don't even really know how to track the data unless somebody is able to go in and filter out the data as to who's ultimate, as to who's core, as to who is, regular Game Pass, and so on and so forth. But check this out. Something gives away the data later on. In 2020.
Okay, so he didn't. So let's just quickly go back because this is on 7 minutes and 49. And if we look at it here, right? While Xbox President Sarah Bond mentioned 34 million, Xbox Game Pass subscribers will have access to Diablo 4 next month. The game won't actually be available to the 34 million Game Pass subscribers. The 34 million Game Pass membership number is accurate. Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass on March 28th, with the exception of Game Pass Core. Do you see what's happening there? The 34 million Game Pass membership subscriber number is accurate because it's including PC. It's not Xbox on its own. It's not with Game Pass Live, Xbox Live. It is with PC. I don't understand why this is so difficult for people to understand. This is from Xbox's PR department. The 34 million Game Pass membership number is accurate. Diablo 4 is available coming to the Xbox with the exception of the Game Pass code, which is a separate. It's a separate figure entirely. Xbox Live is not included in Xbox Gold. That's why when you refer to it, if we're including Xbox Game Pass core numbers into this as well, then that means Game Pass as a whole is over into the 45 to 50 million now. That's where they are now. But we don't include that because they don't have access to the Xbox Game Pass catalog. They have access to a curated catalog. They don't even have access to the standard catalog. It's just 30 games that they get cherry-picked that they can have access to, and that's it. So that 11-12 million just instantly gets pushed aside and is replaced by the PC Game Pass numbers. I don't understand why that logic there is so difficult for people to grasp, but that is where it's coming from.
This out. Something gives away the data later on. In 2023, Game Pass Ultimate accounted for 70 to 80% of all Game Pass subscribers. So the largest number of the 34 million are Ultimate subscribers, basically the highest tier, because that tier is the value proposition at the end of the day. So if you actually want to go ahead and say, okay, who all is using Game Pass, like the Game Pass subscription of the 34 million, you can pretty much take that percentage and just run with it. You can say, of the 34 million, do y'all want to do the math with me? Let's do it. You all right? Let's do 80%, right? Which is about 27.2 million subscribers.
And this is still excluding the PC. So what he's doing here is taking the Game Pass Core and the Game Pass Ultimate and combining those. He's still leaving out the 10 to 12 million PC Game Pass subscribers, which have access to day and date Xbox games on PC.
Are using Game Pass Ultimate of the 34 million. That's pretty impressive, guys. That is pretty impressive to be able to upsell, that community to be able to go on.
But I do believe that what he's saying here actually holds merit. I do believe that there is an upsell here. I do believe that there are people who would have upgraded their service. I also know a number of people that refuse to get Game Pass and are just using the core Xbox Live, $60 a year, and are perfectly happy with it. But this number here again is still omitting PC.
And, move into that subscription category. And majority of those players, in my opinion, are probably within the console ecosystem. The PC side is where they said they're seeing growth, and that is the wild card. That is the ace up their sleeves. They're counting on the fact that the PC market, having been, one of those that's growing like crazy, by the way. If you look at Steam DB and look at Steam's, numbers in terms of who's all, coming and playing games on Steam.
So yeah, everything he's saying here is completely omitting PC. But there was, I had pictures in the past. I don't have them anymore. But I did post about them and showed them to people on social media. But and everyone saw it at the time where PC in 2022 had over 10 million subscribers. It was in one of the Microsoft execs' bios. It was one of the milestones that he was proud of hitting 10 million Game Pass PC subscribers. And then a few days later, after everyone was reporting on it, because that is big news, right? He removed it from his bio. I'm guessing Microsoft said we don't reveal information. So, yeah.
You'll see that the numbers of concurrent users has pretty much almost doubled. Have y'all seen it? I've shown y'all in some other videos. Look at 2020, right during the stay home time. Then it dipped as people were going home, and now it's gone and almost doubled. This is where they're looking at growth from their subscription service. A small fee for people to enter. And we haven't accounted Black Ops 6 growth. We haven't accounted for Indiana Jones growth. We haven't accounted for the Avowed growth, which will be coming, regardless of what people may think. There are people who want to play an Obsidian game. Obsidian, according to reports, are seemingly figuring out a way to reach their audience that will actually play their game. So they're getting some measure of sense in their studios to make sure that they don't go ruin their PR for their game. Then there will be the Doom growth, and then there will be the Gears of War E-Day growth. There will be the Fable growth. There will be the Clockwork Revolution growth. There'll be the other.
Do you know what? I'm going to take back what I said earlier. By 2030, I could see them hitting that 100 million. Because theoretically, if we're counting PC, we're counting Game Pass Ultimate, we're counting, Game Pass console in general, all of it under one umbrella, standard and ultimate. And then we've got the Xbox Live as well. If we count all of those together, they're already near 50 million as it is. And we are, 5 years away? They just need a 10 million growth every year and they'll have hit that number. And if they continue, next year will be a huge, telltale sign, as they are releasing, based on what they're saying, around 7 or 8 AAA games throughout the year. That's crazy, I know. But that's what you're looking at. And those will gain numbers.
The game that's going to be in the Bayou growth, Midnight, whatever. That's like 7-8 games that I've already mentioned. And then there will be another Call of Duty that hits again if they're doing annual Call of Duty releases.
They will.
And I think anybody who is doubting how Game Pass is going to grow, again, is not following the data. When you follow the data, you just have to say, unless people refuse to play all these games that I've already mentioned, of which we know that that's not the case, obviously. People subscribe to play Black Ops 6 and people subscribe to play Indiana Jones because nobody wants to blow $70 for many one-and-doners. And for Avowed and for the others, people will probably subscribe to test it out. Yes, there'll be people hopping back in and hopping back out, but it doesn't matter. Hop on in when you want. That's what they actually do want for you to do. So, those who are saying that Game Pass numbers have stagnated, they're not looking at the internal metrics of people actually converting from different Game Pass tiers and moving up. That's where the money is.
And, he's right. Upselling is a really good way of getting more money out of your existing customers. Because that's what you want to do, right? You want to bring in new customers, and that's great. But your existing customers, you want to upsell those. You want to get them where they're at the lowest and bring them to standard or to ultimate and try and get them there and keep them there. And don't forget, you've got all of those people doing the Microsoft reward scheme where they're doing all those searches, which are still money because it's triggering advertising revenue. So they're still getting money coming in, just not directly into Game Pass.
It's weird because at first we were thinking they'd be going out there trying to get 100 million people. Yes, but I think as that did not work out, they just looked at, as they were increasing the value, people were moving. In fact, as they announced that they were going to get Activision, people decided, nah, man, we're not going to be sitting on a lower subscription. We got to get in on that. And I think that basically grew their internal Game Pass Ultimate and even the Game Pass subscriber numbers for the, base tier of Game Pass. That's not cool.
And this, ultimately, is where I think it's about to finish.
All right. That was very hard to actually pull together. Thanks for watching.
So this is a good video. I'll have a link to this in the description below. I'll tag him as well because it was a nice video. But the one thing that he failed to clearly kind of put any focus on at all was the PC. And I understand why, because there's no numbers. But we did have those 10 million plus numbers. And that was from 2022. And that number will only have increased by now, right? But this also makes this is an Xbox ad campaign that is going absolutely crazy right now, even more stronger, because Game Pass on its own isn't selling itself. It can't, because people don't know what it is. But by getting people into this is an Xbox, whether it's a TV, an Asus ROG, your laptop, your PC, and then giving you access to Game Pass, that gets you into the ecosystem and onto that subscription model. And that's how your numbers are going to go up. This is the grand plan for This Is an Xbox. It is to increase awareness of Game Pass. It is to increase an awareness that Xbox as a brand isn't just a box, but it's Game Pass as well. And that is the center of everything. And if the campaign works, next year you are going to see a really sharp spike in numbers for Game Pass. But folks, that's what I think. It's a really good video. Definitely worth checking out. I am going to drop a subscribe because I really liked the video. Give him a thumbs up as well. And yeah, definitely check it out, dude. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'll have a link in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell to stay up to date with all content I release. And I will see you in the next video. Take it easy, everyone. Remain legend.